So yeah, good day everyone. So I will be discussing our last lesson in Prophet 109, and hopefully nakikita niyo ako, or if not if not the entire presentation, pero sana most importantly naririnig niyo ako loud and clear. So this will be our last lesson, and I was able to send to our respective GCs already the copy of this lesson. So it's all about contextualization of the curriculum we're in. We have different policies for this from, of course, the basic ed. Okay, so we will be talking about different initiatives before the introduction of K-12 curriculum in the Philippines. So before, from the 1998 to 2006, we have the TF, or the Third Elementary Education Project, which aims to develop readers using local stories. So ano yung mga local stories na yan? Like for example, ano yung mga folktale, uh, any stories, legend, alamat na from our local community. Like for example, in San Carlos, do we have a story of how na-form ang San Carlos? Or like for example, we have story ng mangga o ng bamboo, bakit naging mangga and bamboo festival ang San Carlos? Such examples. And we use those stories for reading during this curriculum or project. We could also integrate culture and artistic expressions in learning areas kasi we use local stories. That's why not only the culture, but how do people express themselves using the language of a certain area. Kasi if, like for example, Pangasinan, nasa Pangasinan tayong lahat, pero meron tayong term na hindi parehas ng meaning sa ibang areas sa Pangasinan. Like for example, onurong. In our place, onurong is papasok sa school. But in other places, undago is papasok sa school. So with that, we can see na there are differences. And if we use local stories, makikita natin lahat yun. Okay? After that, we have the 2002 to 2007, we have the BEAM, which is the Basic Education Assistance for Mindanao. Ito naman, yung curriculum specifically for people na may tatlong perspectives. Ito yung Muslim sila, we have the Christians and the Lumans. Ito yung they're born with three different perspectives. So to connect each perspective, they introduce the beam. And after that, we have the prime, which is Philippines response to indigenous peoples and Muslim education. Kasi this is to this introduction of the prime movement is to complement, if not to highlight furthermore itong perspective ng tribe people. And dito lahat nag-umpisa yung attempt para i-contextualize yung process ng education. And apart from that, during the 2005, we have the Strive, which is strengthens the implementation of Visayas education, wherein, again, this is based on contextualization again. When we say localization, contextualization, we could use their languages, their stories, their resources in teaching. Okay? And apart from that, again, andito naman si Prime natin, wherein dyan nag-umpisa yung mga several attempts. And afterwards, we have your Governance of Basic Education Act of 2001, which is known as RA 9155, and wherein under Section 2, we encourage local initiatives for improving the quality of basic ed. Ano yung mga local initiatives na yan? Yan um, yung mga, for example, may mga activities ang barangay captain, wherein ini-involve ang school. Nagpapa-feeding program sila na sagot ng barangay, nagpapa-reading camp sila na sagot ng barangay, yun nag-extend sila ng health initiative ng local government. Okay? If we go to a smaller unit, pero we can have naman the municipal wide. Okay? Kasi we have the district and division offices. And the values, needs, and aspirations of a school community are reflected in the program of education. Like for example, di ba, sa PSU, we have the mission, the vision, the goals, and such. Now, the same is true pagdating sa local community. Each local community, each municipality, they have their goals, they have their aspirations. So they can integrate that. Those will be reflected depending on the program na gusto nilang i-introduce doon sa school within the municipality. And they can also establish learning centers. Kaya meron tayo, yung sa daycare, that's actually mandated naman. We should have daycare. Pero if we're going to have that as an example, we can have that as one of the learning centers na ang kwento kasi ng daycare centers natin, hindi siya funded ng the national DepEd, but it's more of funded siya ng municipality level. So in the municipality, yeah, sa munisipyo, meron tayo doong um DepEd, may DepEd office doon. And diyan papasok lahat itong sa local initiatives. Kaya they can um, create projects, propose and such, derives and such. After that, we have the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, which is known as the RA 10533, wherein in Section 5, that should adhere to the following standards and principles in developing the enhanced basic education curriculum. So it's in the part of they have na the basic education curriculum, and afterwards one of the movement under the curriculum before introducing the K-12 was this, that the enhancement of the basic education curriculum. Now, we go with the contextualization, localization, indigenization. Palagi na natin binabanggit. So, ano nga ba ito? Paano ito nagsimula? It was adopted due to the Order 32 series of 2015, which was promulgated July 29, 2015, which is known as Adapting the Indigenous Peoples Education Curriculum Framework. So they have kasi their own curriculum. Now, in the enhanced basic education curriculum, yun na yung gusto nilang i-blend, ilagay, i-layout doon mismo sa curriculum na meron ang Pilipinas. That's why the job of the teacher pagdating dito talaga is to look for materials na ma-highlight yung pagiging indigenous, if not, ma-highlight yung resources na meron sila. Like for example, in San Carlos, it's the manga and the bamboo. So how are we going to utilize that as a teacher? Paano ko siya ipapasok sa literature? Paano ko siya ipapasok sa mga issues pag sa social studies? Paano ko siya gagawan ng kwento? Paano ko siya and such? Paano ko siya gagamitin as instructional material? That is the idea of this lesson. And we further define what is contextualization. This is a process of tailoring curriculum to specific learning environments. And what are those learning environments? Mga environments na from the rural, urban, from the mountainous areas, from yung tubigan, yung magka-cross pa na island barangay and such. Those are other learning environments na yung classroom nila, hindi yung classroom na may four walls, kanto. Considers local needs, cultures, and resources, enhances relevance and engagement for learners, bridges gap between academic content and real-world applications. Ito kasi yung pinakadulo, yun yung pinaka nahihirapan yung mga even teachers kasi we do not have all available resources, materials, yung talagang of free. Kasi kailangan ni teacher talagang bumunot sa bulsa niya. Kaya depende na kay teacher kung kaano siya kadiskarte. Kaya you are encouraged to create your instructional materials na pwede niyo pang magamit sa mga susunod na panahon. Okay? Bakit? Like for example, ano ba yung mga real world applications na yan? Yung mga tanong ng mga bata na, teacher, paano ko matututunan yung 25.5? Saan ko yan gagamitin? Teacher, saan ko gagamitin yung mga idioms na yan and such. Yun. Kaya dapat in your application portion of your lesson plan, you give activities that are not focused on written, but trying to create activities wherein they can apply. If it's oral communication, dapat oral communication, ask them to interview a certain individual or find someone to talk to. Pwedeng magkaklase or not. Pero kung ang oral communication, tas ang pinagawa mong activity is essay, malamang it's wrong. Hindi na-apply yung natutunan. So in here, like for example of curriculum contextualization, kinuha ko ang science, which is on ecosystem. So under the traditional approach, we have generic examples from textbooks. Ano bang ecosystem? Ecosystem ito, where living and non-living organisms interact. So for example, itong area kung nasaan ako, which is library, it is an example of ecosystem that is not included in the book. Kasi ang nasa traditional approach natin, kung ano yung nasa libro, ang pinapakita niya kasi doon madalas, it's a pond, it's a forest. O apart from that, ano pa ang ibang example ng ecosystem? So under contextualized approach, we study local ecosystems, floral and fauna. So like for example, in San Carlos, we study the number of bamboo trees. We study the number of mango trees, if it's flora. Ano pa? Ano ba mga animals na meron dito? May mga piggery ba tayo and such? We can study that. Those are other examples of ecosystem. And why do we need to integrate contextualization in curriculum? We have the following benefits here. Increase student engagement, better understanding of immediate environment, practical application of knowledge. We highlight number 2, which is better understanding of immediate environment. So ano yan? Yan yung dadating yung magiging aware yung mga bata of what's within the community. Kasi if hindi natin siya in our discussion, may ganyan pala kami dito sa barangay namin, they do not know. That's why your role as a teacher is very demanding under the contextualization, indigenization, and localization of curriculum. So now, we go with indigenization. Mabilis ako, no? Kasi hinabol ko yung boses ko. So indigenization, we define process of incorporating indigenous world views, knowledge systems, and cultural protocols into educational content. Ito indigenous world views. Hindi lang naman tayo ang may mga indigenous people here. They also have around the world. And with the indigenization curriculum, we aim to incorporate the views of other indigenous tribes as well as their knowledge system. How do they transfer learning, transfer idea, cultural protocols, and such, which also aims to decolonize education and promote cultural diversity. Diyan matatanggal yung idea na my culture is superior over the other culture. That is the idea of indigenization. We also recognize indigenized people as knowledge holders and educators. Kasi they do have something to share. They do have knowledge, most specifically practical knowledge that we, like for example, urban areas, yung mga city municipalities do not have. So they can share those to us and we can share what we have as well. So in the indigenization curriculum, we have your example, which is history. So under the traditional approach, focus on European colonization and settlement. While an indigenous approach include indigenous perspectives, pre-colonial history, and impact of colonization on indigenous people. Kasi under traditional approach, like for example, tayo sa Philippines, we focus on um, colonization of Spaniards, like for example, o yun lang, paano sila nakapunta dito, anong mga nangyari, and such. But if we're going to apply indigenized approach, di ba sa ating yung Philippines, we were colonized by the Spaniards. Ngayon, ano magiging impact nun sa atin? Ano yung mga nangyaring magaganda? at not so magaganda sa atin when we were colonized, and what will be the lasting effect of it to the coming generations. So in here, we also have benefits, like for example, more comprehensive historical understanding, promote reconciliation and cultural awareness, and empowers indigenous students. Okay, so we can read on that. Now, we have, I think this is the last one, like the last idea. So we have the localization, which is a process of modifying educational content to reflect local realities and needs. So ito, in our society, meron tayong shortage. And once we integrate our society in our discussion, we can open the eyes of our students of the challenges, of the difficulties, of what is lacking in our community. So diyan natin, at diyan magandang gamitin ito, lalo na pag pinag-uusapan ng mga social issues natin sa lugar natin. Basta si teacher hindi bias, not because ayaw niya yung city mayor, uh, i-bash tula, that's wrong. So doon naman papangit